Get your T-Steam game up. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I ain't never had nobody, and I ain't never had nobody. So shit, I was just nobody. You the one I really wanna chill with, yeah, cause ain't nobody, ain't nobody. You the one I really wanna chill with, yeah, cause ain't nobody, ain't nobody. You the one I really wanna chill with, yeah, cause ain't nobody, ain't nobody. Oh, ain't nobody, ain't nobody. Now tell me, girl, what is your soul? Happy flight night to the front. Check it, ain't nobody quite like you. Yeah, some things we don't understand, and I just got a clue. Yeah, you fly around in my dreams like a damn witch with the broom. Yeah, if we was living in a matrix, I'd have found a glitch in it too. Yeah, we just need a lot of air, just like a big inner tube. Yeah, I ain't had nobody since a young, you know. Yeah, I was just a pilot when I'm covered. Yeah, everything you popping off for nothing. Copper onion, just a smoking crop. Hoping I can open eyes to focus minds on the real issues in the world. Why you somewhere going crazy? Having issues with your girl. She got just up in some girls, especially if she was a swine. Yeah, tell that girl you ain't got no time. Yeah, both of us to cross the line. Yeah, for sure. But you the one I really wanna chill with. Yeah, cause ain't nobody, ain't nobody. You the one I really wanna chill with. Yeah, cause ain't nobody, ain't nobody. You the one I really wanna chill with. Yeah, cause ain't nobody, ain't nobody. Oh, ain't nobody, ain't nobody. Now tell me, girl, what is your soul? You acting like you ain't got one. You acting like you just got stung. You acting like you ain't had fun in a while. Yeah, we in the clouds and we not getting down like Tupac. I get around, then I hit the ground. Every time you leave, I'm usually sick. I'ma tell you right now, girl, you was it. When feelings got involved, it got truly thick. I really never wanted to call you a bitch. Shit, but you pushed me way past that level now, yeah. You keep acting like you's the devil child, yeah. That's why you feeling so misplaced. Come chill with me today, day. You the one I really wanna chill with, yeah. Cause ain't nobody, ain't nobody. You the one I really wanna chill with, yeah. Cause ain't nobody, ain't nobody. You the one I really wanna chill with, yeah. Cause ain't nobody, ain't nobody. Oh, ain't nobody, ain't nobody. Now tell me, girl, what is your soul?
Get the T-Steam game up. I said, I get the feeling in your shoulder, your collar blow. I said, get it. Get it, you good, get it. Get it, bitch, get it. Oh, for that. Oh, for that, bitch. All right, check this out. We're going to talk about some goddamn order. This is adult spirit time. You know what I'm saying? If you're an adult spirit, you can handle the spaceship we get ready to go through. All kind of time travels and all kind of, back to the future. Madam Farton, or whatever his name was. He had them Nikes, though. I always wanted them Nikes, then got the money to be able to get them. Realized I don't even want them. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. I started realizing I was getting lost in the world. Why do I want that? Made my own shoe. That was it. And then that was it. I ain't think no further than that. Why my shoe ain't better than his? Why I gotta get on some truck or something like that or go back to the future or some shit. I seen that in reality in today's current time. Monkey standing in front of the line waiting for some Jordans. So why I gotta go wait and do all this other type stuff? You know what I'm saying? God said make it. You ain't gotta go look and search. I seen people searching for them colorways and stuff like that, especially when it comes to them Jordans. Some of them weren't even made in California at the LA, at the LA office company and stuff. So I seen a lot of people in search. You was in search for that colorway. You was in search for that silhouette and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You was lost. You was lost, god damn it. Guess who ain't gonna have no shoes and nobody remembering your name? What about my fraud? You know what I'm saying? That class act. Class act. Oh, that. Get your T-Steam game up. You know what I'm saying? That we gonna get into astrologies too. You know what I'm saying? The moon is in the space. You know what I'm saying? Where the red falcon, red hawk man might be at. The sun, Aries. Then we got the goddamn sun and goddamn it Aquarius and stuff like that. The otter, you could talk too much, or you be the frozen pick stick man. You know what I'm saying, or something like that, or you could be the Aquarius stalking beneath the kneecap and ankle cap man. However the case may be, you want to walk on water. So when the sun is like going through goddamn Aquarius, you want to make sure you're walking on water. You want to make sure you know that it's talking about that esoteric water. It ain't necessarily talking about no water you jump dive in a 6 feet pool. No, it says not necessarily talk about the water, just 10 feet and stuff like that. No, some people get cold feet before they get married. You know what I'm saying? Some people get cold feet before they start to do things that they want to think is a goal or however the case may be. But a lot of times, it ain't about your wiggly feet. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can spend a lot of time thinking about it as your wiggly feet. But we talking about some spirituality and stuff like that, where you're just going through the water. You're going through the water, and it's goddamn Passover. You know what I'm saying? So get ready to experience Passover energies and things of that nature too. When the sun passes over from one horizon into the other spectrums of the houses and stuff like that. But we ain't there yet. We got a good another 30 days. 30-some days and stuff. Well, 45 days or something like that. You know, so trials and tears, 45, walking through the days of those energies. I say, however the case may be, 45 days, 45 nights. Thank you so much for the Cashapp Aquarius. I appreciate that for the bar, Mark. Oh, shit. 45 days, 45 nights. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And also getting into the spectrum of, you know, chaos and order, you need to know that this is a dichotomy. You know, a lot of times animal species and humans get into aspects when it comes to the false dichotomies. And a lot of times what's more superior is the mechanism. So you'll see that everything has a mechanism. And when we put things in its natural perspective, it won't be a polarization that we may be lost in, even when it comes into our personal life, because there's a time for things to be built up and there's a time for things to be torn down. But both of these things has a mechanism. So if you was to do these things out of order, it'll place your whatever that you're trying to do in an uncompromising circumstance. That's the word I'm looking for. In an uncompromising circumstance where you're going to have to, you know, gain some convenience or compromise with something that don't have anything to do with it, that may take us 10 steps backwards. And that might be filtered through a person, place, or thing. So when you're looking at it from a spiritual perspective, you know what forms and what fashions to put order in, and what forms and what fashions to put, goddammit, chaos in, because it's truly not these terms at all. It's truly something that we see every day, how a tree become to be and how a tree start to, you know, phase off when we go into the seasons, which I'm gonna break down once we, you know, go into the matrix. But for the most part, just putting people in the mind frame of, you know, putting everything in its proper perspective is from an equilibrium perspective, and that's always going to be dealing with the mechanism. So you're just realizing the mechanism of how the Great Spirit works, and then once you understand that, you know how all things work. And once you understand how all things work, you're able to put your spirit inside of a space that you allow these things to run free and accumulate, but also understand how they condense and also be constructed in whatever form that it's in. So you're not being able to be lost into a form, but you're able to understand it for what it is, because it's part of your creation. So this is when it comes to individuality, spirituality, and something you can give a gift to the world that other people can utilize for themselves and things of that nature, or in some aspects take and things of that nature. But for the most part, whatever space that you are in, you are the creator, you are the builder, you are the constructor, you are the orator, and you are the accumulator. So for the most part, when you always in that space, you need to understand each mechanism so it's placed in its proper perspective, so you're not out of order when it comes into your process of, you know, this cycling system that we are in, that we can't escape. You see what I'm saying? And it's not even something you're supposed to look at like it's something to escape from, because for the most part, it's your creativity. So your stimuli, your vibe. Look at it like this. Let's say if you believe in some aspect of reverse psychology God or something like that, right? That'd be all feelings. If this God know all feelings, all things of that nature, that means it have all feelings, all things for things to even be. It have all thoughts, it have all feelings for it to be. So if you got a piece of it, for the most part, you got a piece of God. Now, on the moment you disrespect it, you disrespect your creativity, you disrespect your individuality. Then for the most part, you have to put on a mask. And a mask is, you know, probably like having to imitate whatever high school you in, or having to imitate whatever crowd that you are in. And we all know where these type of circumstances lead to and things of that nature. So for the most part, we want to make sure you have the right clothing too, which is your own individual stitching when it comes to what's sheltering your spirit, and the right goddamn ego and vulnerability being mixed in, so it can become a healthy ego, which is a phoenix. So, you know, your vulnerability ability ain't nothing but your emotional intelligence, and your ego ain't nothing but your divine masculine. And when you blend these in healthy, you get a phoenix. So for the most part, you could go above and beyond and not stay stuck and limited and then stuck in polarization to try to make yourself feel like what's good or what's overall there is just you being a god in the demonic world itself. You know what I'm saying? And that could be a lot of things. That could be based off bias. That could be based off desires. That could be based off, something you're trying to separate from, but everything you accumulated is still attaching itself to you. As far as people, places, and things, like you ever had a situation where you had a job and you might have a family member or a friend that, they lean and depend on being able to borrow money from you and things of that nature. And let's say you may have switched up or you may have done something else or things of that nature, so you're no longer in that position to be comfortable with that. Yet the energy that they in never solidified themselves to be on their personal individual situation like that. So for the most part, wherever you going, right, they feel like they have to go too, but yet where you going, they may not even be suitable and things of that nature. So it's like you attaching something to you that you also got to react to, respond to, and think that you got to do something for and stuff like that, and you in a situation where you have to do for yourself due to the fact of whatever you just cut off, that you probably was in a position to be able to do that. So a lot of times that's just like carrying things on when you don't know how to attach from certain energies, and a person will already know not to do that in the first place due to the fact of you understanding ain't nothing constant but change. So for the most part, they should be in the same type of vibration. Because you'll be trying to change, they'll be trying to stay the same, and whatever that they trying to stay the same of consists of a part of you, and whatever you try to change don't consist of whatever they made a part of you that attached to you to make them feel comfortable and sheltered in some way, shape, or form. And a lot of times when an individual don't even understand that for themselves, you end up being the only blame for them not putting themselves in that spiritual position and things of that nature. Here's where you get someone calling you a charlatan, or you calling you a backstabber, or calling you someone that, fake, or whatever the case may be. Family, friend, associate, or co-worker. So you just got to put yourself in a situation where you can see things from a mile away. Now, okay, we're 12 minutes in. So how you doing today, Neo? I'm saying, how you doing today? God damn. Trinity. Did you eat 3 chocolate chip cookies today? Oh, I'm saying, with macadamia. With macadamia and raisin bread. No, raisin. Oh, I said, well, I don't like raisin cookies. I'm going to tell you that right now. I ain't never liked raisin bread and cereal either. So try to and stuff like that. Y'all said good for your immune system. Y'all said but bad for y'all said taste buds and stuff like that. So you gotta think about certain stuff like that. You into these things. No, I'm saying other than that's as far as we all get to talking about Morpheus. All right, I said we can get into that. We're gonna get the mind risen up in a better perspective and get everybody healthy, spiritually traveling and flying through the astral realm. Now look, check this out. So when we talk about chaos versus order, these things not even a dichotomy. Y'all said, so we got to understand that right now. These things ain't a dichotomy. So when we start to understand the mechanism is how things work, right? Now, for the most part, it takes. Now, if it's new spirits, or let's say spirits that haven't went through a lot of birth, lives, and deaths, right? Carnation, incarnations, reincarnations. This is what they're learning to become a spiritual adult. So I'm saying, you're learning the mechanism, so you realize you was always where you was at, and you got lost in the many forms and things of that nature, and gained polarizations or created worlds within it. So this is how you understand, if you want to talk about an actual fall or anything of that nature. It's just you going through many lifespans, and you having to realize it's a mechanism of why you're in these things in the first place. But these things is what creation is. So you are the creator, not the creation. See what I'm saying? So it comes from emanating your own mind, and then condensing that with teamwork makes the dream work, and then you having your own individual organ to interact with others. Teamwork makes the dream work. They got organs, no matter the species, right? And the level of comprehension and attention span and a lifespan is going to be only separation and things of that nature as everybody going through this cycle. So for the most part, it takes a team, always accumulation as a friction, fusion, friction, and pressure to make one thing that everybody can participate with. So we know that's the only mechanism that plays out for you to be here and experience others, to develop your ideas, piggybacking off what we're all adding based off your own individual thought and feeling, and what's mainly could be participated with everybody else doing the same thing that could be higher on the percentage scale of relativity. And that's how everybody becomes spiritual relatives and brothers and sisters and things of that nature, because we're acting higher on honor and morality based upon what we're relative to. So we're able to keep our own circumstance, but we're able to make it relative in some way, shape, or form, right? And then the better that's able to be practiced, the more there won't be no smothering energy, smothering the fire. That's what we may call it. You know what I'm saying? So when you're smothering the fire, not allowing the fire to dance. You're not allowing the fire to burst. You're not allowed. So that's the lack of creativity, or creativity getting smothered, where we lack ideas on even how to relate to each other, or how that play out down here. So our feisty, or spicy, or fiery, aka just visions, which will we be considering fire, our ideas may not be, or our visions may not be able to be relatable. And why is that? That must be, it's a large percentage scale of non-spiritual people in the world. And I'm not saying it's like that right now. I'm just saying these are how you kind of look at things from his mechanism. And then when you're supposed to act these things out for God, you know what I'm saying? This is where you be able to start to compare and contrast. What are you doing, or what are you in, and what's the right way of going about something? You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, when we're just thinking about the mechanism itself, these are mechanisms of how we get here, not where we're going. So we happen to add on. That's how we know it's an accumulation. And anytime we're dealing with separate, we know that we're going into our own thing. So how we kind of deal with that equilibrium, or that polarization being from the equilibrium perspective, is how we're able to, give the fruit and build up God, or the Great Spirit. You know what I'm saying? Or, be fruitful. And then we built this attraction energy for ourselves. AKA, we have a piece of God. And then for the most part, that means your spirit is in that space. So the type of thoughts and the type of feelings you would develop is ones like God. So therefore, whatever you bring to this world will be attractive, no matter what kind of physical form that you are in. So keep that in mind too. You know what I'm saying? Because what is everybody attracted to in this realm of reality anyway? God. You know what I'm saying? So you want to look at those natural qualities and things of that nature as a mechanism. Right? So, and then how you do it ain't gonna be the same how someone else do it, but it ain't what we do, is how we do it. So for the most part, what you do is your own individual subjective way. Then teamwork makes the dream work. How we do it, if you're doing it for God, it's gonna be seen. And things of that nature is gonna build more of that attraction energy, other than being able to be kind of thrown off a little bit due to the fact of whatever self-centered energy that's behind it. And here's the thing, can't nobody get out of self-centered energy. So it's how we're practicing self-centeredness for God. How much is our self-centeredness can be relatable to others? For an example, right, you may even stay in a group home or something like that, right? But for the most part, you got your own individual space. But what makes it peace in that group home? How well everybody is able to respect their own space, but still allow it to be relatable in some way, shape, or form. And then that makes a more peaceful group home, right? Or then sometimes you need somebody like COs or something like that. Not COs, but the individuals there to make sure that's being applicable. But at the same time, we see that as a natural mechanism on even how the world is made. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, when you act these things out, this is what allow people to be either attracted to you or attracted to your ways of doing things, whether you are around or not. And that becomes more supreme or superior in some way, shape, or form when you're more tapped into the mechanism. And the mechanisms is the children of God. You know what I'm saying? If you want to look at it within that aspect, or the Great Spirit. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the holy ones. It's millions and trillions different mechanisms as different forms of God that we could take as really the main players, the real character. But you have to know that what character are you? Because your character is the first footprints in the sand, and we all have a substantiated place. You know what I'm saying? But without finding it, we find ourselves duplicating into other loopity-loop systems, and then it creates that lost energy where a person can't make it themselves, like love or attraction or creativity or imagination, right? And these are things that God have for the world to even be. You know what I'm saying? So these not things you want to separate from or hide from and things of that nature. And if you is at a low percentage scale of this energy, this is things that you need to start building up so you don't take yourself into no form of organ implosion. You see what I'm saying? Where you're not doing what God want to do. You're doing what some species want to do. So if you're a human, you're doing what a human want to do. If you're an animal, you're just doing what an animal want to do. It ain't got nothing to do with God, but you got to always remember, you wasn't somewhere saying, let this world be, and then you just jumped in it. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, it took somebody to put some dick in somebody's pussy. That's already a team. Before we even get to people turning 18 and coming up with some la la land shit. So for the most part, it's teamwork makes the dream work, or none of us would be here. You know what I'm saying? That's how God made it. So that's it. The end. But at some point, that's how we have to understand mechanisms. Now, when we actually get into order, Now, check this out. Order versus mechanism. Now, when it comes into order versus mechanism, I mean, order versus chaos. Now, chaos and order, these things are not dichotomies, right? Now, these things are things on their own. And if we understand these things in this proper perspective, this allows us to know when something is reaching chaos, and then when we have to act upon it, and then when something is reaching order, and when we have to act upon it, and then therefore we won't be creating chaos where there's order, and we won't be creating order where there's supposed to be chaos, and then we won't be trying to control it either, because a lot of y'all are maybe controlling in your lives, right? It might be something that's been going good for so long. Here you go thinking it's a problem, or it's too good that you create an issue. Then for the most part, it become you creating chaos when something was orderly and fashioned. Then it could be another way around. Person creating so much goddamn chaos in some way, shape, or form, but it might be time for something to switch up. Right? But you trying to hold on to one thing that might be outdated. So for the most part, that way of flipping the taco may not work, or that way of presenting yourself may not work. So for the most part, you trying to add order to something that's in transition mode. You know what I'm saying? Now, what does these things actually mean? So we don't, so all the baggage behind order and all the baggage behind chaos get taken out, and we could point to those mechanisms before we give it words in this reality. So whenever you see a synthetic version of order, aka someone who got an ego in your life, or however the case may be, you're able to spot it from a mile away. Whenever you see chaos and it's not the natural order of it, you're able to separate it from the word and be able to be like, this person is in chaos regardless of what they think that they're doing. They could be in a synthetic world where they may got their business together. Their family member, friend, associate, co-worker got their business together a little bit more than you, but they probably do a lot more reckless things with it and things of that nature, right? And things that you may not know. So that's a person still in the spiritual energy of chaos. It's just when they jump into the third dimension, and they probably in a synthetic world, but just when they jump into the third dimension, it may look, the cover up of it may look like something else due to the fact of what we have made normalized. And that could go in various ways. That could be very vague, but in your personal life, you'll be able to see that. A lot of y'all got, you know, those egotistic family members or associates, or you probably got a family member where you had to borrow some money a few times, right? But then you got those family members that hold it down. Then you got those family members that can't wait to tell all the other family members that. No, wait, can't. Where you start to see it as, oh, this is something that how they boost up their ego. So let me not even try to. You know what I'm saying? So it can go through a lot of different scenarios and stuff like that. Now, but what do these things actually mean? Now, when it comes into order in its natural state is just when something is being constructed, right? And chaos in its natural state is when something is reaching its deterioration point. So if you want to look at it mentally before it becomes into your matter in your life, right? When you start to emanate a thought, astral project, and then you start to add on to it. So it start to become a feeling with multiple thoughts when you're inside of it as a soul. That become reactionary energy to your first external energy. So when you start to jump into that, right, that's when something is being constructed. Because what are you doing? You're building on a thought, right? But this is not something you want to make sure as a spirit you obtain that ability, not get lost into that memory. So we're creating membranes, but membranes is not something to get lost in, because we know that this is how we got created the organ in the body. And a lot of things that come from that is vulnerabilities, insecurities. So we know that, okay, these are things we make. So we make better ones, not get lost in the system that makes it. So when the spirit emanate a mind and it condenses and become an organ, like a brain and things of that nature, that's the system that makes it. But when the spirit emanates a mind, and then that condenses and become the organ, that's the mechanism for us to be here. But we could still be emanating a mind, and then therefore not thinking about how it came to be as an organ. So for the most part, that's not utilizing a mechanism, and that's a form of organ implosion, right? So for the most part, it's like you stimulate something that join in with everybody else, but you jump into it and want it for yourself and don't allow it to be with the mechanism of teamwork makes the dream work, for you to come here and resonate with a parent and a mother that did that too, for you to even come here and how they come here and things of that nature. So when we start to talk about order itself, it's just when you're starting to build up on something. Now, when something get built up, it has an expiration date. Anytime there's a starting point, there's an expiration date. You know what I'm saying? That starting point, that's a birth. Then it has a life, like a horizon, and then it has an expiration date, aka like a gas, liquid, and solid, and things of that nature. So when anytime something is getting ready to reach its deterioration point, that's when you know it's get ready to it's in the chaos. Now, the reason why I'm breaking it down like this, because it's helping everybody separate it from the spookism that might be behind order and chaos that may be utilized in a way through someone you may know that's doing ego, right? And then they're trying to demand things from you, like in your relationships, if you're married or things of that nature. And you can start to see how order is being misplaced, but you may not know how to explain it into this kind of live stream. You know what I'm saying? Where chaos is being misplaced, but you may not know how to explain it. So a person could, like, chaos might be displaced and it might look like order. Person flash some money at you or flash something at you that make you be like, well, damn, they may be doing something more orderly in their life that I'm not, so let me go ahead and bow down and listen. And this is how you get that Ike Turner and Tina Turner type of situation. But at this at the same time, you don't know what to point to and how to say it to be able to make the person think to themselves before they even externalize that weapon towards you that will not prosper once you understand mechanisms, right? And like they say in the movie The Matrix, Neo, once you got this gift, you won't even have to dodge bullets. You could just stop them. AKA, soon as Ike start to even get in that energy, he'll start to feel guilty. And you ain't even have to dodge it, AKA dodge the smack. And then you have to wear the glasses at the next family reunion, being Tina and stuff like that, right? Before he even did it, you ain't even had to dodge it. He put his hands down. The bullet just went down because he know whatever you said and the energy and the vibe and the spiritual space you was in to develop it that was closer to God made him even know he retarded, and it ain't nothing he can say to overcompensate it. Not even a synthetic thing. Flash the contract in front of her face and make her think, well, you ain't gonna have no career if you keep talking. You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing. When you're looking at something being in or we can make it make sense in reality, right? Think about when something is in its deterioration point. That's when you've been at work too long, or you've been in jail too long, or the relationship y'all reaching that tit for tat moment, or whatever the case may be. What happened when something was an idea that you're now frustrated and tired of? It's reaching its deterioration point. But what characteristics do you start to do when you're in these type of circumstances? That's what you can call the natural quality of chaos. Because once you're in that jail cell too long, you may go crazy. Once you're in that relationship and that person keep making the same mistakes too long, you start to give them a piece of your mind. Once you see what I'm saying? So that's when chaos is in its natural state, and then your spirit have no choice but to react to it, even if the word wasn't in a dictionary, and then the term chaos is misplaced. See what I'm saying? Where it may make you think it's about something about the universe and the galaxy, and it ain't got nothing to do with nothing. But when you see it within your personal life, you'll be like, all right, this is reaching a deterioration point based upon when it was birthed, when it came from order. So for us to get this relationship together, that's when something was constructed. Okay, that was the order phase. It's a life of something that we're going through. Whatever disagreement we had that once wasn't, but now it's becoming the one, that circumstance alone, not the whole relationship, but that circumstance alone is starting to reach its deterioration point. Now you'll be able to see something from a mile away to be able to stop when y'all reach that tit for tat moment, aka spiritually being tired of each other, but don't know that's what's going on. So the things that y'all are doing when y'all sharing each other's space end up being small forms of frustration that both spirits be really like, okay, we just need some space, but don't know how to do it, and then end up making a mistake where y'all put too many energies in between y'all, circumstances, situations, word of mouth, that make it impossible for y'all to be as close as y'all previously was. And then, that don't lead to nowhere else but divorce or breakup or, a relationship ending on bad notes. But when you're supposed to understand things is at a deterioration point, that lets you know, all right, when something reaches its deterioration point, chaos could be emanated when I'm not even looking at it in the way that I learned it in the encyclopedia. So now that I know, and then maybe if you have to, but now you put it in this proper context, you can still use the word chaos. But at the same time, to remind yourself to keep things straight in your mind, you might have to give it your own word when you know you're reaching a deterioration point. And everybody's deterioration point and percentage scale is different, and they should come up with their own type of practice around that when they start to reach those scenarios. And then chaos won't be in the world as much due to the fact of us acting these energies out when it's misguided and misdirected, and it's not even chaos at all, or we're too much in a polarized energy to the point that it's misplaced. So chaos is being played out in order when it ain't supposed to, because who's ever playing out chaos got some self-serving interest behind it, and then vice versa. It could be something where someone try to keep order, like ego, like Ike Turner or whatever like that, because he want to keep money in his pockets based upon making Tina Turner go to the studio and things of that nature. But for the most part, she's reaching a deterioration point through that situation. I'm tired of getting hit upside the head and things of that nature. So for the most part, due to the fact that what he might be in, that's a person that's misplaced in order, where the situation is deteriorating. Y'all relationship ain't that good no more. You know, she not gonna be hitting those notes the way she usually do when things was in this built up process. You know what I'm saying? Because she gonna be in the studio with other things on her mind other than the spiritual space she was in with the other things on her mind to make her hit those notes the way she used to. Now she gotta try because she got this other thought. Nah, I really don't want to sing for this. Nah, I don't really. You know what I'm saying? All that mess stuff up, mess vocal tones up, all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? All kind of shit. So you got to peep game how things is. Now, when it comes to so in your personal life, this would look like when you're excited about something, something is getting constructed from the mind to the physical, and when you start to get tired of something, it is reaching its chaos or deterioration point. So when you start to understand that as a mechanism, this also help you understand, you know, spring, summer, fall, winter, but what to actually do in the environment at these times. And when you understand those mechanisms, this is how you're able to communicate with animals too. So you understand it's beyond the voice and it's the mental lingo. And all you got to do is understand the mechanism of something. And a lot of these animals be understanding the mechanisms of humans a lot more than humans be understanding the mechanisms of animals. Due to the fact of certain things that humans be distracted with, that animals is not distracted with, that they're more entertained with, based off, a lot of times, it could spring off from being in survival circumstances and stuff like that, that automatically built certain intelligence that the human mind supposed to have and built even more on, that got lost in previous mind states and built more intelligence off that, so it lost the natural communication with an animal and things of that nature, or it has to do a over redundant version of it. You know what I'm saying? Because that get like with training a dog and stuff like that, where it become based off action, not necessarily connecting. But you might say without action, without force, what does that mean? Well, it's almost like this. You could be like a jittery, nervous type of person, and you could be next to your friend, but they kind of more calm, cool, and collected, and y'all ain't saying nothing at all. But a German Shepherd or a Pit Bull or a Rottweiler, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature, pull up on y'all. Just a stray dog pulling up on y'all, foaming out the mouth and stuff like that. Now, before you even make the jittery, your spirit is in that space that's in that esoteric location in esoteric Babylon of creating more thoughts and feelings about fear, and those extreme thoughts rush a little faster than a person who can breathe calmly above waters. So that rush stimuli, before you can even handle it, it's playing out through your veins and stimulating from the inside out as new blood flow as a rush to make you appear to be nervous. But before you even get to that, dog might attack your ass and shit like that before your friend. You know what I'm saying? And y'all ain't say a word. And y'all ain't want to lift no finger too fast either, and things of that nature, thinking you was about to use some force before that German Shepherd bite your ass and shit like that. So you know what I'm saying? Like, so shit like that help you understand there's a validity to what I'm talking about, but there's no seriousness put behind it, like it's actually something we should care about, which that's the thing first before we even get to the things that we actually be caring about to build even technology off of, or senses of certain philosophies of how to deal with certain animals or deal with certain humans and stuff like that. But it's missing a layer, and it's the layer that I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? That extra layer got to be added to it, almost to the point that this kind of what makes certain people in the world think the brain processes and emanate mind states, where no, the brain is receiving the mind, so you know which one is first. The mind condense and become the brain because the mechanism play the same way. Your thoughts and feelings motivate your organs, your brain, your senses, and for you to move. If they not the other way around, you move, and then your mind was like, I just moved my right arm. You move, and then your mind was like, I just moved my left arm. No, you thought, move, and then express. So this letting you know the trickle down system, letting you know, okay, spirit makes a mind state, the mind states control the body. Not the other way around. Not the spirit being lost in the body, and then the body be making all kind of thoughts. That's I think, therefore I am. That's retarded. It's the other way around. I am, therefore I think. Therefore, you understand what you are, and you start thinking. Like if an alligator started with I think, therefore I am, the alligator might start thinking they're a monkey or something like that. And then let's say the alligator can't live on land and shit like that. There it go, destroying itself. The alligator might make some technology to try to get up out the water and then go in some air and shit like that, trying to think it's a monkey, and there is am. It's just dumb and dead. But if it's the other way around, I am, therefore I think, the alligator would be like, okay, I'm here. I'm thinking now. Then it'd be the most intelligent around the alligators and shit like that, because it got things in its like proper perspective. You see what I'm saying? So you got to peep game. Now, hold on 1 second. Keep talking that damn loud, but yeah. So you gotta keep that. So keep that in mind. So for the most part, it's kind of like that. Now, and when you're in these type of situations, ooh, damn, what the hell I was at? Okay, I know what's that. So when we talk about just the spirit itself, the spirit is emanating and it's creating a mind, and then for the most part, it's like a membrane. Now the spirit always has that ability. So keep that in mind. The spirit always have the ability to create a membrane. Now the membrane is what you get inside of, and this is what we're calling memory. Right, so you're inside of a form and you're learning about the information. But for the most part, when you do that enough, it becomes an organ, adrenaline, right? So pardon me, when you do these things each time and stuff like that, this is how you're creating your own 7th cycle from the Great Spirit 7 cycles. So this is how we're understanding how the houses go through and the moon go through the houses, because we live in a big long house. And then for the most part, that mechanism as above is a representation of you as below. So it's up for you to bring that fruit from the inside out. That's not something you take from God. That's something you participate with God and add on to God. You see what I'm saying? So you want to look at that perspective too. Because if you are a smaller version of that type of circumstance, right? But that's a broader circumstance. It's a mechanism. So before you get lost in your human mind and think that mechanism has something to do with a human way of controlling something, or however the case may be, you're already doing the very thing that you think you get ready to duplicate. You see what I'm saying? For an example, when your spirit emanated a mind, it condensed and created this body. So you already did that. So now you're going to do something else. You're not going to do this again. You don't want to build man again. You see what I'm saying? That's how we get all these different species and shit. So that puts us in a situation where you have to understand, okay, we're creating greater forms. We're not going to a world that's not this world. We're creating forms in worlds. And we create worlds based upon the mind and the body. So when you emanate a mind, that's your stimuli, that's your adrenaline, that's your charismatic gifts. You know what I'm saying? And you need to make that as attractive as possible in some way, shape, or form. And then that condenses through your spiritual travels and become an actual organ that you're here and now. Because it's always teamwork makes a dream work to make it here and now. If you create a world that ain't got nothing to do with the here and now, then for the most part, you're like going in your own world. Just like you go to sleep and you go to your own dream, no matter who in it. You know what I'm saying? That's just you doing the concept of how you got here. We all never stop doing what you doing now is what you always been doing. We never stop doing how you get here. This is how creation, evolution, and creation, mutation, and evolution even partake for it to even be velocity, volume, and mass, and structures and condensities and things of that nature. So your spirit is going through expansions and contractions, and every time it does that, it expands a little more, a little broader, and that plays out as comprehension. That comprehension condenses as a more aware mind. That more aware mind condenses as longer attention spans and longer lifespans, organs, and things of that nature. So as a spirit, the spirit is just the practitioner, but the spirit is always participating with the Great Spirit. You can never separate yourself from the Great Spirit unless you just getting lost in your own mind. You're still going to be within the Great Spirit, but you're just going to be within your own reality. You want to make sure you participate with reality, though, because we all building up the Great Spirit, and if we help God, that's helping us. We become one of those beings and things of that nature. See what I'm saying? So that'd be like a human being able to interact with an ant. An atmosphere, which I'm trying to bring all y'all into, to be able to interact with a human. and things of that nature. Not something a human may think is going to, which truly is just on its own, like an animal on its own, like your dream, your mind on your own. But that's the very concept of hell and things of that nature, where this is why people feel good that it's other people around. This is why people feel good that you could be validated and stuff like that. These are natural stimuli that this is how you got here. You don't run from those. You know what I'm saying? You don't run from those things. And you need to understand what built those things up for those things to keep being fruit. That once you can make it yourself, you don't need a person, opinion, a validation in the world for you to build up whatever make you feel happy and excited and things of that nature. So you got to keep that in mind too. This puts you in a situation where you could kind of put your game in, and understand what's going on, and understand what's going on. So once you do that, right, you start to build up on the natural qualities of life, and you start to realize, oh, this what you'll come into a life form already a genius, and be like, okay, this what makes me a genius, and things of that nature. Now there's a synthetic version of being a genius, and there's an attraction version of being a genius, but it ain't what we do, it's how we do it. These don't cancel each other out. That's another reason why I'm making this live stream too, because everybody get lost in weird dichotomies. These don't cancel each other out. It ain't what we do, is how we do it. But for the most part, it's a spiritual concept that you know what you don't remember being born and you don't remember dying, yet you here. So that's your spirit always having experiences. So you know the mechanism of how you got here, what you are experiencing, and you are experiencing the mind motivating your body. So you know when you pull layers back, it's always that system as a mechanism, right? You're just involved in a whole bunch of condensity versions of it, right? So it's about, oh, this what I make to participate, not this what I make to get lost in. See what I'm saying? Because when you make it to get lost in it, you separate from jumping in it to knowing you just make it. So you end up making some other thing that you searched to get from this world, and therefore that take yourself out of this world in some way, shape, or form. And you don't want to do that, because what world, if it's just your own world, what world are you going to? In your own world, we see that as an example every day. People being in their own world, they got like mental asylums, psychopaths, you know what I'm saying, mentally ill and stuff, like all kind of stuff. That's so well lost in their own world. You don't want to go to that through the highest capacity, because no one will even be there to even be able to help you, because you in your mind thinking you alive in this motherfucking shit. And then it's gonna take time for that to goddamn it deteriorate, because when it reach that deterioration, it'll be one of those dreams that everything play out like chaos. Shit start to appear like it ain't real. You'll start to wake up one day and think that you brushing your teeth the normal time, then the toothbrush will probably disappear, then you'll start thinking like, wait a minute, did I brush my teeth or not? Then you'll start doing another. It'll start being chaos and shit like that, and that's when you start to know it's fading, it's reaching this deterioration space. And then you have lost so much time for your spirit to be expanding. Your spirit was getting smaller. So the next spark or juice that you do once you get up out of that hell it'd be a weaker organ. It'd be a weaker mentality and a weaker organ and stuff. So you need more support, more help, more others and things of that nature. And you probably wouldn't even know how to deal with yourself by yourself and things of that nature. Like it'd be like the worst thing for you to be by yourself ever. You know what I'm saying? In some way, shape, or form. And it play out in everybody's ways, but in their own subjective way. But this is a whole cycle system. And when you understand the cycle system, you're peeping the mechanisms and stuff. So you're not losing track of what you're doing. Because if you do, you can get so lost into your own mind and body that got something to do with the mechanism. You come up with your own subjective thought about it. And then for the most part, you might think you're trapped in something. And if you don't like yourself, you're going to start reflecting it. You're going to think you're trapped in this world, and this world is something to be trapped in, where you created your concept for you to be here in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Based off of feeling. So you must don't like the feeling you had, or you must don't like the thought you had. So you're hiding it. You're in shame. You don't want to express it. You think it might not be seen right. You think you might not have no good grace about it or something like that. So you manipulate it. You become a narc. You become egotistic. You utilize other things, maybe a talent or maybe something else that you know behind closed doors you're damaged to yourself. But for the most part, these are things that can kind of cover up the wound that look normal to other individuals, that you could kind of bet other people may think that you in a good place in your heart or something like that for you to be in that position in the first place, or however the case may be. And then that's a challenging aspect of life too. You know what I'm saying? Because that's still coming up with your own thing. I always like to look at that like this, like Like a lot of y'all may have crushes in junior high or crushes in high school or something like that, right? Pardon me. But you were scared because you don't even know if that person like you or not. So you start to over exaggerate and overcompensate other things that you probably doing a little too much. And if you would have just came regular, you know what I'm saying, you probably would have realized that that person did like you or something like that. Being unsure of yourself and adding too much care to that is a form of going too much in yourself and things of that nature. So you lose the natural talent that spirit's supposed to spark. So you find your circumstance anyway. You find your tribe anyway. You find your people, places, and things anyway. These things don't become a mission itself. It becomes something that just is. It just happens that way. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like one dark kid that's sitting in the back of the classroom always gonna find another person that's sitting in the back of the classroom, regardless of all the thoughts that they had to make them want to be people that sit in the back of the classroom anyway and not be bothered and stuff. You see what I'm saying? You're always gonna find your spiritual tribe as long as you express your natural true qualities, right? And don't be ashamed of these things. And then that's how you actually find your pack and things of that nature. But then that has a thing to it. You know what I'm saying? You can find a pack full of people who just like robbing banks all the time and stuff like that. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. But this just puts you onto game to help you understand. Now, like I said, when it comes to chaos and order, so when something is being constructed and something is being built up, right, that's disorder taking place. So that could be a collection of thoughts, and that could bend in into reality as something you're excited about. Now, when something is getting ready to reach its deterioration point, that's when you start to feel that frustration or you're tired of something energy, right? So that's when you get ready to experience chaos. Now, it ain't what we do, it's how you do it. So when you're going through these shifts, how are you going to go about it? When you start to reach a situation that's at its deterioration point, how is you getting ready to formulate that chaos? So it's not negative or bad or ain't spooky, it's just what you're going through. Then when you're in that order kind of concept of things of that nature, how are you about to order it? Thing ain't what you do, is how you do it. So you excited about something is building, you adding on to these thoughts, these ideas, right? But it ain't what you do, how you do it, right? Is it self-serving? Is it something that's going to hurt others or is it just your creative space in some way, shape, or form? And then for the most part, that's how you know that you're building a good structure and things of that nature, where you don't have to look over your shoulders and shit once it's starting to get built. You know what I'm saying? Because we can see a lot of celebrities in that situation where they built themselves up in some type of order and get excited, but they do it in the midst of chaos. Right? A lot of things don't be right. You know what I'm saying? They don't need barely even trust half of the people that they just say come along, that they made come along, and things of that nature. That's why I be telling y'all a lot of times, I ain't gonna say 9, 8 times out of 10, or 7.5 to 8 times out of 10, when homie get drilled and things of that nature, it was the homie he was just watching a mafia movie with last night. It ain't never the actual ops. You know what I'm saying? That'd be like a small 1.5, 2 percentage. You know what I'm saying? I live in the hood. I did every story. It's about 1.5, about 2 percentage every time. Goddamn it, is some drill or something like that. Homeboy, you just goddamn watched Carlito's Way with last week. It'd be the same. It always be the same. Oh man. So a lot of times we be seeing it. People be too damn distracted. They don't know what themselves be into. And then for the most part, based on the greed of another individual that may not even have anything to do with you, it's just you as the stepping stool to get there. You know, a person may consider that more important on a percentage scale, and then you might be thinking things was dealing with honor and morality and shit. What was honor and morality was dealing was just getting their way. You was just a stepping stool. Know what I'm saying? And then that's when you ain't know that you was experiencing a deterioration of something, but you was trying to keep order. So order was misguided in the situation. You wasn't supposed to keep that relationship standing. You know what I'm saying? Once you start seeing those type of circumstances stuff, it's time, deterioration going on. If you still trying to keep it order, man, that friend's gonna create chaos in your life. You know what I'm saying? So you're supposed to see that from a mile away. And don't try to keep order on something that's going through a deterioration moment, because that's what creates chaos in itself. So these things are not things on its own. It's part of a mechanism. And when you understand the mechanism, you know, you could be, you know, real ordered up in your life and just meet someone, or, you know, attached to someone that's going through chaos at the moment. And you might be in their life at the moment to create some type of order. It can play out like that too. But due to the fact of rubbing shoulders, you will start to take some of their energies and you will start to experience chaos within your life. Here's the thing, since you're more on a percentage scale of order, you're here to transmute their chaos so it could be more orderly. So it'll be certain situations that it seems similar that God will make sure that they see that you handle better than them though. So for the most part, it's not for you to start to get that self-entitlement or self-victim energy and be like, what's happening to me? You need to know that you're strong at the moment and God can only use you as a vessel to be able to show this individual. So, and this individual may not have been there spiritually, and for you to even be in a more orderly fashion and for them to even see you in that light, you was doing something that made God look at you like, okay, I can use you for that. And you may not understand, but for the most part, the Great Spirit understand. And that's when, and if you go through it with no fear and honor, that's how God showed you that God gave you some power. But you would never be able to see it if you don't use it. And then God will just take it away from you, or you give it away to someone else that may not even know how to deal with it. And then the whole energy itself goes away. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta look at that too. You always want to take the little window gate and the star gate God give you, because that's the only way you're gonna know who you are, to be able to compare and contrast if you're God's children or not. You know what I'm saying? So you got to put it into action. What you stimuli, what you create, and what you give off. You know what I'm saying? And you added a piece of God to the atmosphere. That explosion. You know what I'm saying? That's expansion. It's a new idea to handle a same problem that we know we always go through shifts. Gas, liquid, solid. And you already in that space before it become the new gas, being a mechanism builder with God, to when everybody get ready and they don't know that it's a shift and they still stuck in a solid or the liquid version, aka not even wanting something to go and still trying to create ideas about a gas, you're going to be there showing them the way as a direction to let them know it's time to let go. And then for the most part, that little solid, they at least have a direction to let it ease off more peacefully and gracefully, because they now have an example, because you are a child being used as a vessel from God to show them how to pass gracefully into a new gassy form. And then when we start to do that more and more, each species, this is how animals already naturally become greater animals than humans, and somehow this is how humans supposed to come in atmosphere but got stopped somewhere down the line. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere down the line. I'm trying to look for that. I be astral traveling, looking for that specific date, circumstance, and situation, all parties involved. I'm a spiritual time traveler, investigator. Real shit. So I'm Mercury straight up in the 8th house, bitch. So yeah, that Pisces 8th house. My Mercury in Aries though, but it didn't reach the degree of my 9th house Aries, so it just fell in that Pisces 8. So it got that duplicate fire, water, mutable fire, cardinal fire, and 8th house position in the sky. So that's coming into well, how we used to look at it, you're going into La La Land or Oglala and them and the Great Plains, but you're going more down there into the south, and then close to where the Aztec spirits still be deriving and stuff like that and shit. And the great Native American Indian spirits that was building little mountaintop goddamn households and shit like that, with the ruler god dude. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of I lived in all these times. You know what I'm saying? The real rulers and shit. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's just about, it ain't about ruling. That ain't what it is. It's just about having connection. So when you got connection to the mechanism, and we all come from the mechanism, you know how to connect with everybody. The end. It's that simple. You know what I'm saying? And anyone who be going through things that may not know that they're going through certain things, when you point that out, even beyond words, right? A spirit can't say that's not it, right? It doesn't always have to do with the action. So this would make another spirit be like, okay, I understand that, and give you respect in some type of way, because it's a spiritual connection thing. We're understanding how we all come here. So when you become an adult spirit, or a lot of times we consider this the medicine man or the medicine woman, but it goes beyond that too. When you're getting messages from the holy ones and things of that nature, they're teaching you how to become an adult. When you're getting messages from the holy ones, you're getting taught how to be adult. Look at it like this: if you're in a physical, you're learning how to take care of the land or the farming, right? But then if the mind controls the body, and the body that's mimicking the mind, what does the mind mimic? The spirit. So the spirit creates the mind that becomes the mechanism that condense and become the body. So you have to do the mind the same way as a spirit. So you're manufacturing the mechanisms that we even see in the atmosphere and the environment. You're manufacturing how that goes. You know what I'm saying? This is why a lot of times, even when you because this is how a lot of us used to do it back in the day too. When you have a coming from early stages of when everybody is in that indigenous stage and stuff like that, right? You start to shape the body as how you see things too. You know what I'm saying? So this is what a lot of the mothers used to do, the chiefess used to do. You know what I'm saying? They like shape the forehead or flatten the forehead or something like that, right? And this is how also a phenotype gets sprung off and also separate from others based upon agriculture. It may be a certain sculpture or a way of survival, one phenotype or root race that come out the water do. You know what I'm saying? Because we all kind of do the same thing. It's like how you get whales in one and polar bears in one and goddamn it, panda bears in one, right? But based upon the culture, you do different things with yourself that becomes to be the representation of the spirit being in the mind, conditioning in the body, and all these different species we come to evolve to be, right? So the agriculture itself, we sculpt each other too. You know what I'm saying? So this is another way how you can understand your literary history or your foremother energies, aka the first group of your phenotype that came out the water. We've been doing this in the water too. You know what I'm saying? And the water condense and become the thick, which y'all think land, but in this later stage, this is why we say our place in the sky. You know what I'm saying? Where the mechanism that's that star that's get ready to be on Earth, like cloud becoming water. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like another point, but it's like a mechanism when you start to see, oh, okay, this is you're creating the system, but the system is the system. You can't escape. The system is not even something to look at to escape. You know what I'm saying? The system is what it means to experience. So the thought, the feeling, that's awareness, and the awareness is the mind state. You know what I'm saying? And the spirit's supposed to always be in a position where it can be like, I know how to emanate a mind state. You know what I'm saying? So you can lose that. You can lose that ability. When you lose it, you don't use it, you lose it. You know what I'm saying? I know how to emanate. So you always know how to be creative. You always know how to do something new. You always know how to update something. And it ain't what we do, it's how we do it. You could be doing the same thing, but how you do it is more attractive than someone else doing it. And it's more acceptable on a percentage scale than others and things of that nature. So that lets you know you bringing some God shit here and things, because you know without that attribute, none of us will be here. You know what I'm saying? Because let's think about it. Let's say if you do believe in a synthetic version of God, and God was this universe, right? And you came here, you might not like it, but you was attracted. And then you're going to play that attractive energy out based upon what you like, your excitements would get you horny and stuff like that. And then for the most part, all of these are just attractions being played out in different levels that we don't even give the attraction word to and stuff like that. But that's what's leading your spirit somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to be unattractive, because the holy, holy, holies, without you being selfish, you was attracted to something. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, you want to participate with that as a mechanism. Don't get in your polarization of what you think attractive mean by the baggage behind it. AKA, oh, something's supposed to look attractive physically. Oh, something's supposed to be attractive just because it attracts others. No, it don't have anything to do with that. It's about the concept of attraction itself, right? So you need to dive into, okay, I was attracted for me to be here. So you'll start to see, okay, you'll start to go down that traction, that train of thought and line of reasoning, right? And then you will start to see, okay, when I peel the layers back, I'm my own spirit, but peeling all the layers back, it's a spirit within a spirit, because I ain't responsible for all the spirits in the world, but there's a spirit that I'm in for me to be a spirit, because I'm a subjective version of it and things of that nature. Then you will start to see, oh, okay, now I see what's going on. Ooh, I had a point. I missed my point. I missed one point. And then you will start to see, okay, no, back up. Don't get in your polarization of what you think attractive means. Okay, yeah. So don't get in your polarization of what you think attractive mean, because for the most part, once you separate from all the layers, right? That's fine. You're leaving back every traction, and you're starting to see, oh, okay, I created a mind I was attractive to. I created a physical form I was attracted, a physical form to go in. Oh, this must be a quality that the Great Spirit got. Creating attractions that I can use. So, creating a mind that condensed and become a body. And it was attractive enough for me to want to uphold it and things of that nature. So, I'm doing something for God. Or I'm doing something like God. You're here. So that's how you want to keep adding on and things of that nature. Now there could be an inverted version, and what we do is how we do it, but that'd be the expansive version of it and things of that nature. Knowing that everything is a mechanism, and since it's there and you got a piece of it, then you know that's something that God has overall and things of that nature. So when you add on to it with your own way, once you reach that understanding, right, then you're adding on for God. You could be amongst the holy ones. When you don't understand that and things of that nature, you might be small as a spirit, and it takes you these births, lives, deaths until you understand that, I'm creating membranes, and it ain't what I do, it's how I do it. And how I do it, be insecure. How I do it, be vulnerable. How I do it, be implosion. How I do. So, next time, let me make sure I invert that. Let me make sure it's more free. Let me make sure it's more light. You know what I'm saying? Light as in weight. Light as in weight is when you know that you emanate a thought, you're not lost in a thought and trying to uphold a thought. When you get lost in organ implosion, you're trying to uphold a thought. So you're creating many thoughts in that one thought, many feelings in that one thought. So you add your subjective feelings in that one thought and all those ones to uphold that one thought. So that's only going to lead to lying. That's only going to lead to manipulating or lying to yourself, basically, or manipulating yourself, right? So that's you being in your own hell and things of that nature. So that's when it comes into get lost in a thought. And that's how we got here in the first place. You already built this body. So why create a thought that mimic this body and this world? Teamwork makes the dream work. Objective, this world, and subjective, your own mind and body. Where you did that in the first place to have this mind and body. So whatever spiritual space you was in previously, where we all at, you emanated this type of mind, sound, and it produced this type of body. Now, organ implosion is jumping in that as a spirit and doing it again. Jump inside your mind and saying, all right, I'm about to create my own this again. And so that's organ implosion. So your thoughts is being directed in the same order of you just created and you did it anyway. So now all the adrenaline is going into an area, not outwardly, but inwardly, and it's starting to cave in. So this is how you'll get cardiac problems or prostate cancer or things of that nature, or there's certain issues and illnesses that's coming from nowhere based upon the heaviness of esoteric mucus, right? The collection of thoughts and feelings that uphold one thought, where really it's supposed to be you just know you can create a thoughts and feelings to be in, but you don't have to be in it. So when that shift, you always can create another thing. When that shift, you always can create another thing. When that shift, you always can create another thing. See what I'm saying? So it's not you trying to create another version of one thing. It's you just creating another version. And you always be the face of that. You always be, no one else can have the credit. You know what I'm saying? No one else can have the credit. No one else will be able to take what God gave you and expand it the universe that looked more attractive than everybody, than whatever that was encapsulated that might have been self-serving. And this what makes us a lot of this what makes us egotistical too. Because we might have done something, let's say you're in a relationship and you might have done something at work, but it allows you to be in a position where you could cheat and not get caught. Then we might be going through a shift. In your case, as an example, your hours get switched on you. So those same hours you was able to do that with that lie may not be the same hours that, your wife or your husband, whatever the case may be, male or female, might be in to be able to peep game or start to get a light bulb on their head and stuff like that. Now, you might lack the ability to know how to switch things up on those new hours to still be able to cheat. So you might still be trying to tell a lie that you was telling when you was working those previous hours, thinking it's going to work when you working those new hours now, and then get your ass caught and cheating and things of that nature due to the fact of organ implosion. And anytime it's organ implosion, you end up sick, you end up salty, aka you get ready to go through a divorce. Now I'm just breaking it down from the actual perspective so it can add validity to it. So that previous way that worked, yeah, it worked, But for the most part, you don't got them hours no more. So for the most part, it's not going to work in the same way. It ain't what you doing, it's how you doing. And what you doing is cheating. But how you doing it ain't the same hours. So for the most part, if you ain't creative enough and things of that nature, you don't know how to do organ expansion. AKA, oh, when these new hours come, I got this organ expansion for something new. But you might be in one energy and still want to cheat. So for the most part, you're going to still trying to uphold a time to cheat at a time you wasn't cheating, right? So now you're trying to uphold something and you ain't doing something new. So therefore, you ain't even going to be in no new space that even if it came to be that you could cheat, you're not even going to be able to see it because you're still trying to do some other shit and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't cut it off and do something new. So for the most part, that's organ implosion. You get ready to reach a divorce. Hours switch up, should just go ahead and stop and then wait till you see a time and see something else, right? That's organ expansion. Therefore, you will be able to peep new times to do different things. Therefore, you wouldn't have been, putting your foot in the mouth. So horny still that a lot of the lies you told to cheat, you might have got away with, but it was still conducted in the previous hour. Then a lot of times you're going to forget your lie and get caught in it faster anyway. You see what I'm saying? Where you could have just been like, okay, I got other hours now. I'm going through a new shift. I can't cheat like that then. Now that you're going through another shift and things of that nature, your mind ain't about to be developed in, well, if I can still cheat, let me do this. And just because she think I'm at another hour, your mind is going to be at something else. Okay, I'm just in a new space. Then that's going to develop. Then if you do see a Stargate or something like that, right, it'll be a whole new way that match that don't have anything to do with the previous circumstance that'll throw your chick off when she start questioning, wait a minute, why are you going at this time where your previous hours you was going at this time and this don't make sense? You see what I'm saying? Like she won't even be thrown off. You'll have something that totally match that new time. So for the most part, it's kind of like organics. And I'm not teaching nobody how to cheat, and this ain't got nothing to do with cheating. I'm just using this as an example so you can understand how you even come in and have more comprehension than the average individual, so you don't have to be taught or pick something and be like, I'm that. Somebody tell you, hey, you're your grand auntie and stuff. You got to be like, no, you already come out to your mother's reverse C-section and be like, I'm back. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, whatever you get ready to experience, right, is based off instant. So everything you experience just remind you doesn't necessarily mean you have to learn about it. It just remind you. And then it has to be presented to you for you to be reminded. Then instead of it being the other way around, you have to be taught and forced to be in it. So, that's a spirit that's just saying I'm that. They're going to be in spaces of rebellious energy because it's almost going to be like a premeditated or a presupposition character that a spirit always want to be in a space of creating their own energy no matter what they're doing, organ expansion or organ implosion. So when there's something already ahead that the spirit ain't fully agree with, right, they might agree with it based upon other circumstances like what's normalized or what's seen if you're part of a gang or something like that. This is what the Crips already do, or you know what I'm saying? But once you start to experience them a little bit, things, you're going to start to rebel a little bit because you're going to have somebody saying, hey, you OG Bobby Johnson. And it might be cool based upon the validation that you get in, but the moment you start sliding off a little bit, you're in that energy of I'm that, not I'm back. And then you're in search to find what you are, and whether you're new or whether you are something and you're just not representing that at the moment. And that's your spirit letting you know that. Your spirit letting you know, yeah, you're wearing something that may be other percentage scales of other spirits added to that, not necessarily you. And is you gonna get lost in that ego or not? And that's a form of organ implosion too, without you even knowing it, because you're living for others, and in your mind you made it up that it's the right thing to do, and it's always your responsibility to make up your own mind. You know what I'm saying? This is even what take people in rebellious energy in the first place. So it'll be some energy that's set before you that eventually you're gonna start to be like, well, I ain't the main representation to have people want to call me that, and automatically that puts your spirit in a space of, even if it is some truth to it, you might rebel against it. But that's still a kind of circumstance of I'm that, not I'm back. You know what I'm saying? And still kind of a circumstance of, needing to reevaluate yourself so you can reach that state to be like, okay, now I'm back. That's what I am. Or just know that you are experiencing at a newer time than other spirits who have developed the energy that may not be here anymore or in something else, and trying to expand and escape from what they was previously in, or participating what they was previously in, however the case may be. Everybody on their own journeys. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't what we do, is how we do it. So, oh yeah, hour in. But for the most part, that's helping everybody understand order versus chaos. And these things are not a dichotomy at all. These things are a circumstance that's based off the mechanism, and the mechanism at many things is like it has an early seed to it. And when you understand early seeds, you're understanding the mechanism. So chaos in itself has a mechanism. Is when anything is reaching its deterioration point, and which is chaos. And order has a mechanism to it, which is anytime something is being built up. So that's something that's playing off naturally. You know what I'm saying? It's just part of a mechanism. So that's the what. But it ain't what we do, it's how you do it. And that's always important in things of that nature. But these are things that you can't stop or control. And it's always going to be playing out internally before we self-reflect it. So we want to make sure when we're self-reflecting the Great Spirit. We're self-reflecting things that's closer to God. And that's things that's emanating from the mechanism. Therefore, when it comes out genuine, it'll be a situation that actually need order that's in chaos. People will look towards you as the best suitable. It'll be a situation when it is in order and it needs to be in chaos. People will look towards you other than other individuals, because we know a synthetic version ain't get ready to be played out. We know that you're the best person to help us build on a new idea when something is reaching its deterioration point. The end. When something needs order around chaos, and then and vice versa, right? We know you're the individual that needs to shake things up when things have become too stuck and non-consistent, and it became stubborn in some way, shape, or form, and it's too rooted in like a goddamn quicksand or something like that, too stuck. Okay, boom. We know you, the individual that needs to shake things up and things of that nature, because we know your level of reaching a deterioration point is going to have everybody in a better perspective of being able to have multiple ideas that take away from the singular idea that's a sinking ship. So for the most part, we know that we need to call you to shake things up when things that we're trying to keep up in order is no longer on the goddamn McDonald's value list and shit like that. So you know what I'm saying? So when it's time for you to come up with the new sandwich, we're gonna come to you, instead of us knowing that this damn Big Mac ain't selling the way it's selling anymore, and we trying to rub it in everybody's face, telling them to buy it and shit like that by adding another layer of yeast, aka bread, and making the goddamn meat smaller, you know, aka goddamn doggy patties. But y'all know how to look at things in this broader perspective to add it into your personal life so you become a better person, aka an adult spirit. And I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Flightboss, bitch, you know. For sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Terry's Moon. I am the Royal RJJ Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And I'm gonna put it at that. That's it. Hee hee.